Every sperm is sacred. Every sperm is good. Hello, and welcome to the middle of the film. Yes, I know. Sometimes I do that just to make sure I can look at the something to say and look at the audio UV meters in OBS, and looks pretty good. Okay, why are we here? Uh, we are testing the units, uh, some of the units that are in the Vicksburg Champion Hill scenario. We are testing well, not that it needs a test of any kind, but we have completed making these strips of fence section segments. So as I said, it's a strip of fabric with a segments of fence, so that when you have an elevation, because it's on a fabric, the fence can go down slope. And that's what we have here today. And that's what we're looking at. So hopefully everything will be okay. Okay, so another thing I did was I painted darker green some of the pine. It provides for a little bit better, we'll say color. Everything isn't so green. And also I lightly brushed on yellow to the tops of the cornfields to give them that tassel look. Now, obviously, corn doesn't tassel until it's nigh ready for harvesting, right? So you don't always want to do that. Well, the truth of the matter is, yeah, you kind of do. Oh, and by the way, yes, as you can see, the uh, cornfield's not obeying the shape of the hexagon. That's okay, right? Remember, there's no reason to do that. The hexagons they only exist for a fast reference point if you're going to make a replication of some map and or movement on the game table. The hexagons are simply a feature. Okay, so uh, discovery number one. The There it is. Oops, no, I just moved the game table, didn't I? Discovery number one. The track lighting up there discontinued. I will not be able to get any more yes, it's true, by the way. These resin, well, the 3D printed cornfields are delicate. That is a problem. The only way I can see of making them quasi-permanent, relatively unbreakable, is to pour uh, liquid acrylic or something that hopefully won't be reflective, I don't know, onto the base. So that if you have your corn stalk, here's your corn stalk. It looks like this. So this is a corn stalk going up like that. When you pour in something, it will make it, there will be, I know these little nits, they're not bugs, they're just dust. It will coat all the corn stalks. They're really, really tiny, right, as you can imagine, especially at the 10 millimeter scale, and make them stronger so that when you accidentally touch a cornfield too hard, you don't crack, break, or something of these corn stalks. Why does this matter? Because eventually you're going to break those corn stalks. They're eventually going to break if you're moving stuff around, which you probably, kind of do. So you have to plan for that. And this brings up another thing you have to plan for. In a 3D printing environment where all the figures are printed in epic scale, just remember, like, Warlord, whatever, Callistra. No, not Callistra. Anyway, anybody who prints 3D figures in a stick where they're all touching, all the guys are touching shoulders, that's fine. Except in some cases, right? Because what if you don't want that? Ergo, people are printing their own stuff like me. Are you printing individual figures, right? Or are you printing a whole row of, plastic of guys touching shoulders, and so it looks like, right? And in that group, is there a guy holding a ring in his hand that you put a flagpole into? Well, mostly not. And when you buy the things, the flag guy is, right, already there. Well, that's no good, because you can't have a figure with a flag permanently displayed like that. Well, yes, you can, because you can just simply, cover the flag up with another piece of paper flag. Okay, yes. But what happens when that flagpole breaks? Right. That whole strand of guys is a problem. It no longer has a figure with a flag because he broke. How do you replace him? Ergo, what I did was recently planning for the fact that on individual mounted bases, individuals in the front or the back rank, if you break that flag holder, you got to replace it with another flag holder guy. So I printed a bunch of flag holder guys, because when you're in the convention, in a game scenario, and everybody's moving stuff around, and all of a sudden you touch that flag in the wrong way and it breaks. Or the guy, more than likely, breaks off the base, off the stand. Now what are you going to do? Well, if you use super glue to put that guy on that stand, that super glue, first of all, when the guy breaks, he's going to break at the ankles and leave his little base on the stand. Now you got to chip that off. Be careful. Make sure you're wearing eyewear of some kind. You got to chip the remains of that guy off that stand so that you can glue on a new guy. Why is this a problem with super glue? Because super glue dries like a glass. As we all know, it doesn't cut off like you would cut off a tiny bead of hot glue. Or, importantly, if you don't use a hot glue, you use a sticky tack to put this guy on. Why? Because if you don't want him to break again, if he's glued on, he'll be so rigid that if somebody touches him incorrectly, he'll break. Or the flag, or both will break, and you'll have to do it all over again. So instead of using a super glue or other very quick drying, because you want that, a type of glue, use the sticky tack, tiny little bead to put that guy. It'll stick. It's good stuff. It'll stick on that base and be flexible. So it's like flexible putty, which is what it's known for. Excuse me, my nose is running as we are changing seasons yet again. Okay. So, as you're looking down the game table, you can see that everything's everywhere right now. All the forests are moved. And this kind of reminds me of my Lego tree days when I was using Lego trees. And for the scale that we had back then, yeah. The amount of dust that's flying around is disturbing. I don't know why there's so much dust down here. I mean, I can visually see, and I don't know where this dust is actually coming from, except that there is a vent just above me. I am going to get a air filter and put it in there because I think that's where this dust is all coming from. It's microscopic, but even though I've implemented air filters throughout the house, all the registers, all the intake registers have air filters. And I change the main filter on the furnace regularly. So this may just be the fact that I've never put an air filter in that one. Okay. Painted trees and moving, having moved all the forests. So another thing that's interesting and coming soon to a theater near you is green tape, which I am hoping is going to match the color of this fabric. I have a green tape sitting next to the table, on the table, but it's not quite the same color. So I've ordered another color from Amazon, hoping that it will match closer. This is kind of a lime green. The tape over there, it's kind of an apple green. And here it is, as a matter of fact, right there. Right here. This is the strip of masking tape. It's green, and it's the wrong color. Hence the reason it's visible. Okay, so I was getting at the fact that the trees can be sitting right on the river like this, you see? All that means is that the river, the creek, has trees on both sides of the bank. Now these guys were located where? Now I don't remember where these were located. I'll have to look at the map. I know we don't want to use too many trees. We know we're going to get carried away. And that's why they're scattered. And remember, I didn't create these trees in hexagon bases because they weren't really made for this. They were made for the board game Excalibur. All right. So what are these little things I'm doing, touching here? These are just decorations for the bank. Of the rivers. That's all. Because the river is not like a golf course. There's debris and stuff piled up. Along the banks of the river. And that's what this is. Rocks, bushes. Oh, yes. That's the other thing I have. I'm going to I kind of like want to leave these, but let's do this. It's just, it looks nice. I kind of want to leave the tree. And so that's the other thing too when you're setting up scenario. Remove those trees. Get them all out there, put all the fences, all the hills, all the buildings, and then pull stuff off. All right. So yes, we have green filament printed fence segments and the gray ones because we printed 2 printers at once. We will paint them brown later. Okay, so we are done. Hopefully I can do this. Okay, here we are. All right, so that's it. We'll come back and we're testing. So we got troops on the table finally after all this time, and we're ready to go. So we'll do some other discussion and another segment presently. Thanks.